This recipe is out of my mama's cookbook. It is an old cookbook, and it's a 1969 copyright. Good old-fashioned cooking like Mama did without canned cream of chicken soup. We're making our own gravy. It is great to see everybody today. I want to thank you for joining us here on Collard Valley Cooks. This is where my motto is cooking like Mama did. So I use a lot of old recipes. And today's old recipe comes out of a 1969 culinary arts cookbook that my mother used all the time when I was a little girl. And all the kids know about it. My oldest brother was just asking me about this book the other day. So we're going to be using a recipe out of the turkey section, but I'm going to be using chicken. And this is a casserole of turkey and noodles, is what they call it. And they make a homemade gravy. And we're going to be doing that, but with chicken. So we're going to get started today. And the first thing you're going to do is boil your pasta. And I did not have any curly noodles, so I'm going to be using macaroni noodles. For the gravy, that's a 1/4 cup of flour, 1/4 cup of butter, and 2 cups of milk. And you're going to be using chicken that's cooked and shredded or chopped. You're going to be using a pepper, 1/2 of a large onion, 4 eggs. You're going to boil those when you boil your pasta, and a can of mushrooms, pieces and stems, and then pimentos are optional. Cup of cheese. Sounds good, don't it? We're going to get started by dropping our pasta and our eggs into boiling water. I'm going to let the eggs cook in with the pasta. I wash the shells really good, and we're going to do that first. All right, I always put a lid on my boiler to bring my water to a boil. It's quicker that way. And I am going to put in my pasta and eggs at the same time. We're going to be cooking. I'm just going to measure it by the cup. And I'm going to make 2 cups. 2 cups of these macaroni noodles should work for this recipe. And it takes these about 10 minutes to cook. So I'm going to put my eggs in there with it. And let this boil. Now, if you put your eggs in with your pasta, make sure you wash them good. I'm going to add just a touch of salt to this. And set a timer. All right, while you're waiting on that to boil, you should be able to prep your other ingredients. I'm going to open my pimentos and my mushrooms. It has a pop top. I'm going to do 1 more of these, and I think that's enough pepper. Now, in this old recipe, they just have you make gravy with pepper and salt, but I think we're going to add a little bouillon in it to make it get our casserole an even better flavor. So even if this is an old recipe, I am going to tweak it just a little bit. So now that we have that chopped up, we're going to turn on this eye. We've got our oven preheated to 350 degrees. And we're going to add this 1/4 cup of butter. Of course, that's going to make it taste good too. Here's my 2 cups of milk. And for flavor, we're going to add a little bit of bouillon to it. So I'm going to put in a tablespoon of chicken bouillon granules, because we want this gravy to be delicious. We're going to add just a little bit of salt to this and black pepper. And you can use white pepper and even cayenne if that's what you like. I'm going to add a lot of pepper. The butter's got salt in it already, and my chicken is salted already. So we're going to add these vegetables. And we're going to saute these, and then we're going to make our gravy. And since I've got stuff in here with the gravy, I'm going to use this gravy whisk. We're going to let these get a little soft, and then we're going to make our gravy. All right, I'm going to turn my pasta off while we make this gravy. It'll give those eggs time to cook a little more too. Now, I'm going to scoop out the majority of these. You need all your butter in the skillet to make your gravy. So let these drain out some. And you don't have to get all of them, just the majority of them. All right. Now we're going to add our flour, and that is the same amount of flour as you had butter, 1/4 cup. And you're going to let it brown. Flour is supposed to cook. A lot of people, I didn't know that when I first started this cooking show. You're not supposed to eat it raw. And so you're supposed to cook it. And I didn't even know that. So it's best to cook your flour and brown it a little bit before you make your gravy. And we're going to add this to here to make our gravy. And while that's coming up to a nice hot simmer, I want to make sure that my eggs are completely done. So I am going to put them in here with a little bit of the water, and then we're going to drain this pasta real quick, because you want them hard boiled. And if they sit here a minute in this hot water, they're going to be. Now we're going to pour our pasta in here, and then we got to get back over to our gravy. Now, if you're an experienced cook, then you can multitask. But if you're not an experienced cook, you want to make your gravy separate so that you have time to watch over it. All right, so it's getting warm, and it's starting to get a little thicker. So you're just going to take your gravy whisk and really give it a good stir. And once it starts to thicken up, just turn it off. That's all there is to it. Made us a pretty gravy, and it should be tasty. It's got that bouillon in there, which is salty and flavorful. I'm going to add my peppers and onions to it. Now, this is an old-fashioned recipe where you're not using cream of chicken soup. You're actually making your own creamy recipe. These are the mushrooms. I think I'm going to drain them a little. So there's our drained mushrooms going in. And those are optional, of course. Don't that look good? This is going to be a good casserole. This is like a 4-ounce jar of pimentos, and I don't need all these pimentos. That's a lot. And so I'm going to use half of them. They don't sell the 2-ounce jars in my grocery store anymore. They only have the larger ones. So just put it in the refrigerator and use it for the next recipe. Now that makes it pretty, don't it? All right, y'all. We got to peel the eggs. Here's our eggs. I'm going to rinse them in some cold water. I'm going to put just a little bit of ice in it. And that way they'll peel easy. You always want to put your eggs in after your water comes to a boil. And then you want to rinse them and put them in something cold. And then they're going to peel easy. I have the freshest eggs. We just got them from the chickens. So they're a little harder to peel than the store-bought eggs. But if I do this, they usually work out good. or good enough. We're going to slice these eggs anyway for our dish, so it's not going to matter if they don't peel perfectly. But look at there, they're going to. That's the trick. All right, we're going to put in our pasta. Our chicken. You want a couple of cups of chicken. I might save a little bit of this chicken and make tacos out of it for me and Chris this week, because there's so much in there. You're going to put in your gravy that already has everything in it, pretty much. It's hard to hold up a skillet and scrape it at the same time, y'all. Now all we got left is cheese. Let's mix it up. We're just going to put the cheese on the top. Everything's already done in here, so you're really just putting it in the oven, bringing it to a hot temperature, and it's pretty much already hot. So it should go pretty quick. So it should be ready in about 30 minutes out of the oven. We're going to spray a casserole dish. The recipe said that you could add pimentos, but when you add pimentos to omit the eggs and the cheese and their recipe in the book, but I added all of it. I'm going to spray it. All right, we're going to put half of this in, slice our eggs on top of it, and then put the other half in. Give me a little bit more for this corner. And of course, if you don't like some of these ingredients, you can leave them off. All right, I'm going to save one egg for the top just to make it pretty, because I think they're pretty. All right, and now we're going to put in the other half of noodles. Gosh, this smells so good. Now, this is probably going to be one of my favorite casseroles ever. Like that. And then we're just going to sprinkle our cheese on the top. You're going to put it in the oven for 30 minutes. That's just a cup of cheese. If you want to use more, you can. But I'm just using the end of a pack, and I think it's plenty because this thing is going to be packed full of flavor. Now, you have plenty of time to clean up your mess while your casserole's in the oven, and that way, all you got is a casserole dish. All right, our casserole's baked. We're going to put it up here on top of the stove and let it cool off a minute, and we'll get us a bite. And it looks delicious. Looks good, y'all. All right, we're going to dip us out some of this casserole. It looks delicious. Still good and hot. Looks cheesy too. That looks so good. I think this would be really good with tuna as well. It's time to taste our delicious casserole. I mean, it is packed full of good stuff. And as I was dipping it, it reminded me of my tuna macaroni salad. So I was thinking this would be so good with tuna in it as well because of the boiled eggs. I think it would be just absolutely amazing. Mm-mm-mm. It is absolutely delicious. I wouldn't change a thing. I think that addition of bouillon in there, put it over the top. This is going to be one of your favorites, and you're going to flag this recipe, I promise. I hope you try it. We thank you for watching Collard Valley Cooks, where we cook like our mamas did. Y'all come back and see us. Bye, y'all. Love ya.